And we go on with Sören Stamer. He's the CEO and co-founder of CoreMedia AG. Prior to rejoining CoreMedia, Sören founded a startup incubator in San Francisco, Yokuro, and helped develop a nonprofit early childhood education resource center, the Collaboratory. He co-edited the work Enterprise 2.0, The Art of Letting Go, and received the 2009 German Fairness Prize. The end of bricks versus clicks, how digital bridges the divide and consumers are winning. For years, retail industry experts have been predicting the disappearance of retail store and rise of e-commerce. But channels merge. In-store shoppers can now connect to a store beacon with a mobile device, while online shoppers can explore products via interactive rich media. As in-store and online shopping continue to share best practices, expect more retailers to offer experiences that blur the line between these two extremes. Please welcome Sören Stamer.
Okay.
There's stairs.
Oh,
You take the big one. Okay.
Shortcut. Hello, everybody. The CeBIT. I've been here for, I think, 16 years. 16 years ago. Does anyone know where you've been in 2000? Like maybe the New Year's Eve 2000? Like 1999? Any memories? No? I think I was in Copenhagen that day. And remembering the time, it was a pretty different place. Earth was different. Shopping was still not really online, not mobile. There was an Amazon, but it was small. It was not very relevant. It had books. And now we're here, 2016, and the world looks different. Someone said, okay, these stores built with mortar, they will go away. There won't be a future for them because everything will be online. Everything will be clicks. And while some of them disappeared, I don't think this is the future we are in right now. Marc Andreessen, you might have heard of him. He created Netscape and is a famous investor. He said software eats everything. And one thing software eats, he thinks, is retail. E-commerce will replace retail and there will be nothing else. This hasn't played out that way so far. There is like a digital dominance. It is so much, better online. You don't have to go some places. You can stay home to go shopping in your bed. You can do it in the weekends. You can do it whenever you want to. And you have all the availability of all the goods in the world out there. You don't have limitations of a store. You don't have to go anywhere. And you can compare prices like instantaneously. So why should I basically go to a store? Why is there a future for a store at all? So it's no wonder that the stores were struggling. Store revenue went down the last few, not the revenue, but the percentage of the market went down for the top 20 stores by 2%. While Amazon, from 2000 to now, I think 15 times the revenue. So a huge increase. So right now, the online business is 10% of the overall retail business globally. In the next 5 years, the expectation is it will double to 20%. So indeed, the stores are struggling. But the complexity, the reality is much more complex than it looks like. I think we have to go beyond silos. And one thing that we see in the world out there is that at the beginning, these retail companies built their online e-commerce store. They said, okay, now we have another team that does an online store with Intershop or something else. The store was totally disconnected from their retail experience in the real store. So then they created a brand site, they created, at some point in time, social media, they added mobile, and they still have their brick and mortar. But these different channels are completely disconnected. Some of them invented then, okay, you can order online and pick something up at the store, but then when you want to return the good, they say, no, this is an online good, you can't return it at this store. So what happened then is that the customers who see all these different things as connected realize, no, they are not really connected. So the provider, the seller, he doesn't think I'm the one customer. They think I'm a different person for these different stores with different backgrounds and different needs, and I'm not able to just switch between the different channels. That is a problem, because customers hate it when their expectations aren't met. And the expectation here is it should be one seamless experience. I should be able to buy something in the store and return it by sending it back. I should also be able to buy something online and go to the store and say, hey, I have to return this, it doesn't fit. So I don't want to have the complexity that I know what they allow me to do. I want the brand to have a guarantee that I can get my problem solved in any way. So it has to be an integrated experience, and the shop has to be online, be mobile, be social, and be in the brick and mortar world. Another problem that these online shops have is they're usually designed for one shopper personality, for the one that is very efficient and wants to have the lowest price and wants to buy right away. These stores, therefore, are designed like that, right? I can type in what I want, and I get the product right away, description, picture, and the price tag. And then I have these shopping comparison sites where I can see, it's cheaper there, and there are discounts here. But there is no experience for someone, for example, who is undecided, who needs some education about the problem and about the solution, who needs to see different alternatives first to understand the problem, and then think hard and think harder and have all the information, and then finally make a decision. It's also not an experience for someone who wants to be inspired, who wants to see something that is inspiring, who wants to have new ideas what he could do with his life or with his garden or his house, or what new collection of wonderful things are out there. So for these people, an online store is a terrible experience. I have to know what I want, type the thing in there, and then find it and buy it. That's not very inspiring. It's also a problem for people who are overwhelmed by information, who hate it to have like 20 million alternatives, who just want two. Do you want the big one or the small one? Do you want the expensive one or the cheap one? Who want basically someone to help them make the decision. Who don't want information, who don't want too many options, who want someone take their hand and lead them through the process and help them come to a conclusion. These different personalities need, in a way, different experiences, online and offline. But online stores so far only address one personality, and that is, give me the thing, give me the today, basically, and I want to have it cheap. So what therefore happened was that brick and mortar, they didn't die. Right? They are still there. They are still kind of like doing well. They are, however, they are inventing their online side integrated. The same happens to Amazon. Amazon is the poster child of the digital age, so they sell basically everything now and all around the world, and they do it with brick and mortar as well. So in Seattle, where they are based, they started to have a real bookstore, like with books lining up, and I can go there and I can buy some. The smart thing for them is they didn't do it the old-fashioned way to say, okay, let's put some books in there and have some marketing stuff and hope they sell. They know exactly what are the books that are right now selling in Seattle, to which kind of target groups, and why, and what are the reviews, and what are the people saying about the book. So they put the books into this Amazon bookstore that is real, in the books that are selling anyway, the books that are right now the hot books that they want to expose to more people. So in a way, they enable people to go there and be inspired in a way that doesn't work on the internet. So when even Amazon is, doing both, there might be something ahead of us. One thing that is right now happening, from my perception, is that we look more at the experience of things. How do I experience like an interaction with a company? How do I experience the selection of a product, or to buying it, to unwrapping it, to basically open it, to send it back? What is the experience of this interaction? People are pretty unhappy with the average experience. So 98% of shoppers, when you ask them, say, yes, they left a company and went to the competitor because of the experience, because they didn't like how they have been treated. They didn't like how complex it was. They didn't like what they had to do to basically buy something. They didn't like the overall experience. And only 1% of the shoppers, 1%, says, no, I'm basically happy with how it is. So therefore, you can see how big the problem is. This is 98%. And I think the other 1% is not decided yet, like how they feel about it. It's the experience that makes the big difference. If it's convenient and easy, and if you feel understood, if you feel basically treated well, if you don't run into problems, that makes a big difference when you want to keep a customer these days. Because the alternative is just one click away. Drivers for this experience is mobile. Basically, everyone has a mobile phone now. And, well, everyone has a smartphone now. There is not basically a thing anymore that is not a smartphone. And it's used, right? It's used for more and more stuff. It's especially used for shopping. So shopping, for example, the big shopping days, the mobile channel is the #1 channel. It's even bigger than the internet channel that we used in the past, like the PC and laptops. It is the mobile channel that we like the most because it's convenient, it's always with us, it's so easy to use, we use it anyway. We have it in our hands 4.5 hours a day. We have this phone in our hand anyway. So of these 4.5 hours, there are many of these hours that you can easily use to buy something. The second thing that is different these days is social. Everything is social. Not just that you like something or not like something, it's also that you basically you expose your taste by, on Pinterest, for example, putting your things that you like out there and expose them to third parties. So it's not just that you wear a product, it's also that you say, I like these products and this is my style and I want to expose that. There's one type of shopper who basically decides very much on the question, okay, is it something my friends also like? Did someone buy already that I know? And this social experience, the social shopper, is especially big in the younger demographics. The young people, that's the third part, they think and act differently. For them, not to look something up on mobile, not to basically communicate about something with their peers over multiple channels and WhatsApp and what there is not happening. For them, there is no difference between mobile and the world. We talk about like different worlds. For them, it's one. It's like there is no existence without WhatsApp. If you have a teenage daughter and you take the WhatsApp, the data traffic away, they will tell you that is basically they are not existing anymore for your friends. They can't see you. They can't communicate. They can't tell you that the math class is a different room. You don't even know the homework you have to do because everything is on WhatsApp. So for that demographic, the expectation, the experience they want is very much a social one, is very much a mobile one because the mobile phone is attached to the hand with glue, and they don't bother to go to, they know that there are alternatives, so they are not even don't stick to your brand that much. If they like you, they like what you do, they stay there, but they are pretty mobile to go to different places. They are very much connected, so if some of them go because they have a bad experience, they will talk about that, and that makes that whole thing very unstable. So these three drivers push the omni-channel demand, that you really have to integrate the different channels you have. You have to treat your customer as the same customer on these different channels, and you have to give him or her the flexibility to use whatever channel they like right now to do what they want to do. A customer of ours, Homebase in the UK, they sell to, I think, 60 million people. They sell products for their garden, for their house, to make it nicer in the spring, and all these kind of like nice goods. They realized that yes, we have these stores all over the UK, but we need to educate our customers, give a better experience, tell them what they could do. Because if you just wait for them to look for a shovel or look for something else in the garden, that's way too late. for them to be in business, they have to be the one telling you what you could do with your garden, how you could decorate it, how you could basically set up a nice picnic or have a theme party or something like that. So for them, they realized they have to be much more into content editing. They have to provide content. They have to be the experts of what you can do with your garden. That there are some products involved in all these pictures, that you basically can click on all these products and buy them right away is, expected. The content, however, is the starting point. The content is so relevant that suddenly they have a much more mobile traffic. People, Google figured out, okay, this content is like demanded, so they got much better rating on their mobile search. So they got many more people finding this stuff, and they realized, okay, if they have these nice decoration, or you can see it here, the nice decoration of like your backyard, what you could do with a little hat, with the little shack there, with the other products, with a hat that you can buy, with a sun protector, all that makes sense as a package. So they realized they can do much more upselling. If the customer is there and wants to buy one thing, they're able to sell many more things. And that is something that didn't happen that much in the digital world, because people looked for their product first, they found what they wanted, and they are very pinpointed, okay, now I buy this one thing and I buy the cheapest option. Here, it's more like, okay, I like this whole setting. I need this, this, and this, and it's one nice experience. So that's the other part, that whatever is there as a product, you can click on it. And if it's in the video, you also see the products that are featured in the video. You see the information, and you can click on that too and buy it right away. So it's just one click from seeing the product in the setting and to buying it. That happens to not just their own setup. They say, well, we can create these nice setups, these experiences for other brands. So they realized Habitat or Odina, other brands that have their own collections of things for the garden, we can create these worlds, these experiences for them, and realized that the integration of both is very powerful. So they had much more success selling these high-priced items that have a higher margin for them by creating these worlds, these experiences for these brands inside their own home-based online store. The same they do in the offline stores. They had this concept of shop and shop already. The results for them were amazing. They increased their average order size by 8% just by getting people to add more stuff to their basket. They delivered an SEO-related sales of 70% increase because content that is relevant is found, and then people stay and buy something. And they increased their number of visitors. And they also increased the people who stayed and who used multiple channels to connect with the same website. The other dimension was they tried to do the same thing in the past. They had some people creating pictures and putting labels on the pictures, but it was cumbersome. It was complex. It was like they had a lot of Photoshop people just photoshopping the same picture in different sizes with the same text in different languages. So it was manual work to get this experience somewhat okay, and now they replaced that with technology. Because a lot of the things you can do there, it is just better technology to enable you to have an integrated experience. So their time to web was down by 75%, or the time to build pages reduced by 91%. So they are so much faster to now play with this system and to create the experience that the people want. They can react to trends. They can react to dates. Like, is there an event right now? Is there some holiday? They can basically quickly create these worlds for the customer that are highly relevant. So they added 12 times faster. They are much more efficient, 220%. And they promotions, to put promotion on the side, by 233%. So you can see, like, just by tackling this whole problem of integrating the different channels, if you do it well, you basically reduce cost. It's not just it has to be more expensive, you have to do it right, and then it's even cheaper than before. And there are new in-store experiences. There is, as you can see here, there are these smart tags where you get more information about the product you might buy. There are now apps where you can then select which size and which color and which variety you want, and they put this thing already into the little, what do you call this? The place where you change clothes, like the changing room. So in a way, you just use the app, and the stuff you want, and the size you want, and the look you want is in the changing room waiting for you. You have beacons to track the movements of people. You have the ability to connect the online and offline world. You can offer to basically send it home instead of picking up at the store. You can do the mobile payment. Even if you buy stuff in the store, why shouldn't you have him pay with the click of a button? So all these things are now, I think, unstoppable. I lived for 6 years in San Francisco, and I was amazed how quickly things changed. Even the local grocery store, you were not even putting your credit card out, which was already surprising to me that you can pay $1 things with a credit card swipe. But now it's just your phone or it's your watch. You just click on it and it's done. And the convenience of that is so good that it's hard for me now to go back. Now I came back to Germany. I make this movement and I always miss the spot. So we will have a different shopping experience. It will be much more with a mobile phone in your hand. And however, in the shops, you will have a smarter experience. You will have what some people do is like showrooming in a way that, well, you can go there, buy it online. Now there's something called web rooming. You basically are smart enough to, you looked up everything online, and then you go to the store to pick up the version that you want because you know it's there. There are virtual showrooms where you can see the product, even like with a mannequin that looks like you, to test it. You can share the stuff that you look at on Pinterest with in-store kiosk. So the connection between the two worlds will go away. As much as the next generation, the digital natives, they don't think in two worlds as offline and online. For them, it's one world, and the online part is just part of it. So our recommendation, the channels are not a good thing to look at. You have to look at the holistic experience. What is the overall experience that you want to achieve? You have to collect data. You learn a lot about where people struggle. People are different. So it's a good idea to have as much data as possible to understand your different customer groups and not having it's one customer idea. No, they are very different and they act very differently and they need different ways to communicate with them. So you have to personalize your experience. It is indeed a strategic focus to create and curate great experiences, to really have people that just look at user experience, that look the customer experience, just test it and test it again and make it better. Because whatever you can get rid of, whatever complexity you take away, is better for the customer. One example from the real world, in the US, taxis, at least in San Francisco, getting a taxi was a terrible experience. They basically didn't show up, or if they show up and you were not right there, they left. You, therefore, because you didn't trust your taxi, that it shows up, you took the next cab that you could get. So in a way, there was a lack of trust on both sides, and it was a terrible experience. Then Uber started. It started there because that big problem. And what they did was they have this little app. You call a cab, you can see, or like a limousine at the beginning. You can see where it is, and it picks you up, and fine. And then the fun part starts. You never ask how to pay. You just get out of the cab, of the Uber, and that's it. So you never have to say how much you want to pay, how much tip you want to give, which credit card. It's just you get up and you get out, and that's it. You don't even have to rate the drive. The rating often comes later. Whenever you start the app again, you can quickly click one button. And the surprising thing is that even though the US is a very much of a tipping society where you have to tip all the time, this idea of not being asked how much to tip is spreading. Now restaurants do the same. They say, hey, instead of you having a menu and selecting something, we have a preset menu that is even you don't even know about, but this is the price. And the price is with a tip. There's no tipping at the end. You're not even asked about the money. You pay beforehand. So that's covered. And then they realized, this search pricing of Uber, they have different prices depending on how many people want to have a cab right now. That happened with restaurants now. So the restaurants say, hey, you know what? You can get this wonderful experience, five course menu, and you can get it a little bit earlier at let's say 5:30 for dinner, and then you get half the price. Because at 5:30 nobody's here, and we could do the same for you for half price. If you want to have it at 8 o'clock, it's more expensive. That's basically our rush hour. So at the end, the experience and the ability to address the customer needs, like getting a wonderful dinner a little bit earlier, because you're married and have 4 children, so you have to be, like you are flexible anyway. You need a babysitter, so why not do it early? That makes a big difference. Suddenly you don't have all the hassle that you had normally, that you don't know how many people show up, you don't know what you will sell them because they have this big menu and they can select stuff. This new experience is great for everyone involved. They don't have anything they have to throw away. They don't know exactly what they sell. They know exactly that they are booked up, and they get the best price points for all the time of the day. You have to integrate your systems, and you have to coordinate your teams. If you want to tackle this, you can't say, okay, we have this online team and we have a mobile team and we have the brick and mortar team. It has to be one experience. Therefore, you have to get these teams closer together. They have to have the same customer in mind and integrate an integrated experience for them. Therefore, they also need integrated systems. You have to have a layer that connects these different parts and pieces, and where you can put the rest on top. And also, the idea of this thing being, you can buy it out of the box from someone, it's all integrated, it's ready, is gone. The next generation of people, they don't even expect this idea that there will be at any point in time when everything is solved. It is like the idea of someone handing you the solution for every problem and it's integrated and it works, that is gone, because the opposite is true. It will change every day. There's a new thing that comes up and there's a new thing you want to do. So you have to have a platform where you are able to innovate incrementally. You have to be able to change parts and pieces and start where you are, add stuff, change stuff, throw stuff away. The idea that you have to build something that is always forever, no, everything has like a timeline that is for its relevancy. And there are things you do, you throw away the next day or the next week, or you do 3 times in 2 different places. You solve the same problem many times. However, you are fast and you are changing, you are iterating, you are basically able to innovate, and that constantly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sören Bendich. Your questions, things you would like to know for your business. We've got a few minutes left. How long do you think that authorities will block Uber in Germany? We can't have that consumer experience because there's an industry that's blocking this.
Yeah. Well, Uber is interesting because they are perceived as a company that doesn't care about a lot of rules. And the problem is there are some rules we have that are reasonable, that make sense. And I saw the difference like here in Germany and the US. Here, the taxi system pretty much works. I have an app for cabs, like my taxi. You press a button, and it's for me 2 minutes in Hamburg to get a cab. You pay online now as well. They learned that. It's a little bit more complicated. You have to click more, have more steps. But Uber itself, I think, is not the one answer. Overall, the change process and how to think about stuff is a question. And when I left Germany, it felt like, wow, the Germans are the ones, privacy, and they didn't allow Google Maps to have these street view photos of houses. Houses had to be blurred. And I felt like, I'm not sure this is the future. And then, however, I had the hint that that might be the future. And nowadays, the US realized that Germany was ahead with taking care of privacy rules, that there is something that we want to protect. So I think, it's not like get rid of all the rules. There are some rules that don't make sense in a new future, but you have to basically manage the transition. And Uber, they struggle over there with these kind of like quality problems, that there are drivers who are just not great drivers. I was in the city, it works, but I was outside the city, got an Uber at night, and the place from the hotel to the place where I wanted to go, back streets, this woman, she was like having her mobile phone in one hand and tried to do the Lyft app because the Lyft app was on. And I was like, whoa, this is dangerous. And then my wife grabbed the mobile phone and said, I do it for you. So it was like, whoa, this is you can die here. Like, and then the driver back at night, it was even worse. He didn't know the way, and he was driving so fast. He told us it's the first day on Uber. I said, oh yes, I know, I died today. So there are rules why taxi drivers are basically selected. They have to do a training, and I saw it there that this, is
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So it's to find the right balance. It's a good.
Last call for questions. You were so happy with what you heard that all questions were answered. Where do we find you? Do you have a booth or something?
Yes, we are in the hall number 4 and booth number A58.
58. Okay.
There's one question over there.
One. Yes. Good.
What do you think about the Tesla thing in America, prohibiting them to open stores and stuff?
That's well.
Brief answer.
That's kind of funny, right? It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like the land of the free, and you can't sell a car online. That's finished. It will not happen. People will basically protest. Yeah, that's kind of a done thing. I think the car industry is up for a lot of disruption. It's terrible to think about how much. It's more like the Nokia in 2009. The writing was on the wall. The iPhone was there for 2 years, and then the impact hit them hard. That's what happened, yeah.
Thank you very much, Sören Stamer.